Thanks for joining us tonight for the 2022 Waste Free Advocates annual meeting. So I'm Brittany Wendell. I'm the president of the board. And again, for those who just joined, you'll see an invitation here to introduce yourself in the chat and include what type of waste is your pet peeve. And again, if you do submit a pet peeve, stay until the end and we will do a free raffle drawing and you might win a prize. So tonight you will get to meet or re-meet our board and our new staff. We will cover the past, present, and future of the organization. We'll hear from some of our community partners, including Okapi Reusables, Bold Reuse, New Seasons, and Simple Sundries. We will share an update from Oregon DEQ on implementation of the Recycling Modernization Act, and you'll hear how to get involved with the organization with some time for networking and our quick raffle draw at the end. So during the meeting, please feel free to continue using the chat. Feel free to unmute and ask questions during our Q&A session and interact with others. You know, we hope at the end of this meeting, you might leave inspired by someone new in our community and want to continue the conversation beyond this meeting. Well, thank you for joining us and thank you, for staying involved with the organization through our evolutions, and we're excited to share what we've been up to and what's going on in the organization tonight. Thanks, Haley. All right, so Waste Free Advocates, also known as WFA, our mission is to engage people in creating a sustainable future through local efforts to minimize overconsumption and waste. Very similar to our previous mission, but with more of a focus at the top of the waste pyramid versus recycling. So if you were at our meeting last year, you heard all about our rebranding and revisioning process. So WFA is a 501c3 organization, formerly known as Recycling Advocates. Recycling Advocates was formed in 1987, and since then, the organization has worked on a number of projects, including helping launch the Master Recycler Program, initiating public discussions regarding the environmental costs of paper and plastic checkout bags. The organization closely monitored the bottle bill legislation, the e-waste legislation, as the bills progressed through both houses. And we also closely monitored the Recycling Modernization Act of last year, 2021. We've worked with the Rechargeable Battery Recycling Corporation to increase collection in Oregon, helped eliminate polystyrene foam in food containers in restaurants, launched the infamous BYOC campaign in Portland, in the Portland Metro to reduce single-use coffee cups, and hosted the first Zero Waste Conference in Portland back in 2018. And with that, let's move into board member introductions. So a handful of our board members are up for election or re-election. So our voting members should have received a direct email with a voting form. So this vote just goes toward whether the board member will stay on for another 2-year term, and then officers are voted on internally. So I will start. Again, I'm Brittany Wendell. I am the current president of the board, and I've been involved with the organization since 2019 and through our rebranding and revisioning process. So it's been an exciting time. And outside of Waste Free Advocates, I work as the associate director for another environmental nonprofit called the Pollution Prevention Resource Center, and direct a number of projects, including the EcoBiz certification program, closely with Oregon DEQ. And I'm dedicated, lifelong environmentalist through and through, and just love being part of this passionate team at Waste Free Advocates. So with that, I will pass it over to Tara.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Kaniram. I have also been involved in Waste Free Advocates since 2019 and am the current vice president for the past couple of years. Outside of Waste Free Advocates, I'm the mom of a 4-year-old, and I'm actually an elected precinct committee person for the Democrats. It was a tough race of 10 of us running for 38 spots, but it's a fun and new endeavor that I'm enjoying immensely. So anyways, I'm really happy to have y'all here and excited for tonight.
Thanks, Tara. Jessica, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us today. I'm Jessica Zahn, she, her. I'm the board secretary for Waste Free Advocates. I've been involved since 2020 and have really, I think, you know, a nod to what Brittany said earlier, really enjoyed being part of the visioning and transition towards waste-free advocacy in the last couple of years, and the hiring of our new resource director, who I think will get to speak for herself as well. So I've got to see some great change within the organization. I am a master recycler, class 43, and then and professionally and outside of here, I am the lead environmental, social, and governance reporting for Lamb Research, which is a large tech company, and I'm here in the Portland area. It's just been a joy to get to work with this team over the last couple of years. Haley?
Hi, I'm Haley Robinson. I am the board treasurer. I've been involved with Waste Free Advocates since 2020 when I came on as the treasurer. In my day job, I work in commercial banking, so hence the math and the treasurer piece of it all. But in my free time, I'm really passionate about the outdoors and hiking and camping, and that's how I initially got involved in the waste-free movement. It started as picking up trash off the trails, and I was like, this can't be the solution. So I found Recycling Advocates at the time, joined the board, and I'm really excited to see you guys all here tonight. Some new faces, some familiar faces, so thank you all for joining.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elena. I'm up for re-election for another 2-year term. I started my waste reduction efforts in the 1980s with a can crusher that was very satisfying to pull the crank down on. And ever since have been participating in green teams, and joining this one was like joining a green team for all of Oregon. So I'm able to put to use my master recycler class 64 training, and I've also recently done the Eco School Network training so that I can apply some of my skills and passions at my daughter's school. I've got a 2nd grader, and I've also got a 4-year-old. So that's a little picture of what I've got going on.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Freudenthal here. Nice to see so many familiar faces and some new attendees. I joined Waste Free Advocates in late 2019, actually after attending an annual meeting. So hopefully this might get other people to join the fight. So I'm really enjoyed my years with the group. I'm a very committed eco advocate. I also volunteer at Reclaim It PDX and James Neighborhood Recycling. We have another plastic collection event on Saturday in Beaverton. You can look it up on the website. Day job is industrial food manufacturing, where I can do my best to help organizations do better in waste reduction and recycling. Thank you.
Hi, Waste Free Advocates. My name is Mikey Strawhall. I am one of the volunteer board members as well. I started in 2020 and was officially on the board in 2021. I am an environmental outreach specialist for Pollution Prevention Resource Center, PPRC, and I work directly with our president, Brittany Wendell, previously, and I still do it part-time. I, for the last decade, have been an environmental consultant for the event industry, focusing specifically on music festivals, helping design sustainability and waste management systems for them. And as well as my pet peeve being reusable materials going into the landfill. That's one of the reasons, because so many reusable materials end up at events and they just get junked because there's no avenues for them. And a little bit about me personally, me and my wife are building on property that we own in Mexico. So, thank you.
Thanks,
Mandy,
Mikey.
would you
I feel like I'm
Yeah.
next. Okay.
Yes, you're next.
Okay, so I'm Mandy Hurley, and I have been involved with the Waste Free Advocates for like a little over a year, I feel like. I have been sort of like, waste has been just like on my radar and part of my life always since I was a kid. I have sort of a different view of waste. I see it not only as like an oppressive system, but also as a design flaw. Like, it almost seems like there's just it's just a design flaw. So I am also the founder and owner of a local business called Simple Sundries, where we're doing a little bit more reusing and refilling of, like Mikey just mentioned, sort of like really reusable products going into the landfill, sort of diverting it from that. So we'll go into that a little bit more later, but I'm super excited to be here. I've really enjoyed getting to know everyone on this board and kind of getting to hear like different perspectives and just sort of learn more about the waste reduction efforts in Oregon.
Thanks, Mandy. And thank you, everyone. Thanks all the board members. And again, to our voting members here this evening, if you have not cast your ballot, please do so now. Lots of voting and elections this week, and this one is arguably as important. Okay, so moving on to, I'd like to pass it over to our wonderful resource director, Julia Bonheim. Julia will share a bit about our current direction and some of our plans for the future.
Hello, everyone. I guess just to introduce myself a little bit, I have a background in natural building initially and community building. I worked with city repair for 4 years doing the village building convergence, and eventually took my my passion for a non-toxic world to zero waste. And now I'm following that through communications and video production and working as your resource director, which has been so fun. I think one of my favorite things about that is doing the newsletter. So if anybody has things that they would like to see represented in the newsletter, please reach out to me. But yes, Waste Free Advocates is in a really exciting time right now. They've been involved in rebranding and doing the website, like you've heard, a lot of introspection during the pandemic, and are really just emerging right now, focusing externally, creating new community partnerships. We have 2 grant partners that we're working with through Metro's Investment and Innovation Grants, which I'm so excited for you to hear from directly later tonight. In addition to that, we have a membership drive, which I've been organizing and I'm feeling very excited about. And we're also getting more involved in helping with policy again, especially through the health code. So all of these things are coming up, and I have especially enjoyed going to some of the community events where we've been tabling and reaching out and meeting folks. So that's been, you'll hear about that more later as well from Elena. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Tara, do you want to talk about policy work?
Sure. I was just gonna give you all a little snippet about the Bring Your Own Container for Grocery Stores campaign. And I saw that Britt and Ryan from Realm Refillery are also here. So when I'm done, they may have some additional information to share. So if you guys are amenable to that, you're welcome to unmute yourself. and give us a little more information if you have it. So as many of you know, it's not currently legal to bring your own containers to the grocery store for use in bulk, for bulk items and produce. This rule is not uniformly enforced, which you probably also know. Some stores allow it despite the fact that that the current code doesn't allow it. So changing the code has been one of our priorities for several years now. And there finally appears to be some movement in the right direction. So in August, Surfrider hosted a forum that included Senator Janine Solomon, Realm Refillery, and John Burr of Oregon Department of Agriculture to discuss the progress that had been made. And ODA had previously convened a stakeholder working group to inform their draft code. And as of the forum, the code was on the verge of going to the working group for comment. Once the code has cleared the working group, there will most likely be an opportunity for the public to comment. And when that happens, we intend to share with you all our thoughts on the draft code and hopefully even give you comments that you can, draft comments that you can make in support of the code. So that is the update with that. And if Britt or Ryan wanted to unmute themselves and let us know if it's gone to the working group, I think they're in the working group. I might be mistaken, but no pressure, guys. But
hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Britt.
And yeah, we own the Realm Refillery. As you know, some of y'all might know via social media, we've had a lot of trouble with the Department of Agriculture with our opening, where we have been not allowed to let people bring in their own containers. It's been very strictly enforced on us and has not been strictly enforced on many other grocers in the state. Because of that, yeah, we reached out to Charlie Plyben with the Surfrider, and we've been talking with Charlie as well as Senator Solomon, Senator Fredericks, John Burr, for, I don't know, almost a year now, trying to work this out. And it was not actually until today that, so we actually heard back from them today. So we had seen the draft version of the bill that got brought into Legislative Council a few weeks ago. And today we saw the draft bill of what they did to it, and it's pretty much identical to what we had seen. So that will effectively allow for reuse of personal containers, not only with all bulk foods and produce. And there will be still, you know, a set of rules around it, but they won't force people to allow reuse, but they won't not enable it. So it's a very enabling law. They were going to initially model after Washington's law, which would have been, or California's, which would be not very enabling and make
Pretty
it even
strict,
yeah, very strict.
which we were happy about. So there's the term ready to eat versus non-ready to eat food when it comes to food code. So we tried our very best to get them to like stay away from anything that would be classified as ready to eat, because at one point they were going to not allow that for bring your own container. So we luckily read over the draft today, and they did not add that in. So that was a win for, you know, being able to bring your own container for all items in the grocery store, which we were very concerned about. So big win there. So now we're just in the waiting game of seeing where it goes to next.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for jumping in and giving us an update. And please reach out if there's anything we can do to help, because this is something we've been pushing for as well. I've been bugging ODA and
That's so hard one there. The one, unfortunately, that one top tier that was hard to budge, but luckily it seems like everyone coming together and kind of being that little nag finally made some progress. So good job, everyone.
awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you, Britt and Ryan, for sharing, and thanks, Tara. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about our in-person events and engagement. Elena, you want to take it away?
Sure. Post-pandemic, there's just been the whole revival of public events, a lot of outdoor events coming back onto the calendar, and we were able to join many of the events that were hosted over the summer. Starting in April, we had multiple Earth Day and Earth Month events that we attended, starting off pretty early in the month with a recycling event that was a James recycling event that was hosted by New Seasons Market at their headquarters. And out of all of the James recycling events, the NSM crew have been the hosts with the most. They make a very fun event with music and giving away in April, it was hot coffee, and in September, it was bubble water and apples. So it's just, they make a really good event. We also attended the OMSI After Dark party. They did Party for the Planet. We did Sunday Parkways. It was a hot day in August, and they had East Portland route, which is great to incorporate East Portland. And we got to interact with all kinds of excited cyclers, and we had a container full of cold water for them to fill up their refillable water bottles. We were stationed right next to someone who was giving away plastic water bottles, and all kinds of our visitors at our table commented like, yeah, that's what we need less of, and what you're doing is what we need more of. So excellent conversations had there. Toward the end of the summer, we tabled at Milwaukee Sustainability Fair. It was the first time that the Milwaukee Environmental Stewards Group has hosted this fair, and it was where the farmers market is held. The Milwaukee Farmers Market is a very popular farmers market. And this site was an excellent site, and there were so many excellent organizations and businesses representing there. And there was a lot of enthusiasm at that event. And then the most recent one that we've had was the end of season recycling event that was at New Seasons Market. So out of all of the conversations we have with people out interfacing with the community, that there can be questions ranging everywhere from like, well, I don't know what to do about the dog poop in my trash can, all the way to like, I wish I could recycle my gray water on my own property. Like everyone has their waste thing that they want to talk about. And it's just so nice to get out there and talk with people and let them know what resources have slipped beyond their attention. They always want to hear about what's available to them to waste even less. We've got such a great community of people who are wanting to waste less, and it's nice to get out there and meet them. So we appreciate the support that we've had in being able to put on these events. When we put together our kit, we decided not to print up anything with our logo on it, because that sort of giveaway junk is the waste that we're all about avoiding. So we purchased usable and useful stuff from scrap to support the scrap resale store, and offered up goodies for the kids that were procured from scrap. So we're keeping all of the waste reduction efforts recirculating here in the community and making a good example of it. So thank you very much for helping support that.
Elena. All right, and on the thread of community, I'd like to pass it over to Mandy, one of our board members who, as you heard earlier, owns Simple Sundries and is working to build some strong partnerships and community relationships through Simple Sundries. So take it away, Mandy.
Oh, thank you so much, Brittany. I'm going to go through these slides pretty quick. I apologize for having slides, but I just feel like it's easier for me to communicate this. So just a quick quick overview for those who don't know, Simple Sundries is, I like to say we are 4 things. We're an online low waste general store and refill delivery service. We're a walk-up refill window. We're a reuse service, and we're also an ethical business. We've been in business since about 2019, and I like to say that we were essentially born out of despair. So those are kind of the 4 things, but tonight, if you want to move on to the next slide, Brittany. Tonight, we're just going to focus on the last 2 things that Simple Sundries is, which is a reuse service and an ethical business. And the reason we're going to focus on those 2 things is because I want to talk about something that's really special to me and sort of like the crown jewel of Simple Sundries, and that is Project Save, Refill, and Give. So Project Save, Refill, and Give is basically where we save plastic bottles from the waste stream. We clean out those bottles. We then refill those bottles with basic needs household products, and then we relabel them. And then we give those products to our local school pantries, and those pantries then distribute them to our families and neighbors who need them without any cost to that family. So who do we partner with for this project? We partner with the Oregon Food Bank. We partner with IRCO, which is the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization. We partner with Metropolitan Family Services, Latino Network, El Programa Hispana, the Multnomah County Sun Service System, Park Rose United Community Church of Christ, SEI, which stands for Self Enhancement Incorporated, the David Douglas School District, the Portland Public School District, the Centennial, and the Reynolds School Districts as well. That is who we are currently partnering with for this program. And so why is this program important? Why is this a big deal? Why are we doing this? So mainly, the best way to stop the production of new plastic, I think, is to just stop buying it. And the best way to get people to stop buying new plastic is if we can give them their necessary household products in used reclaimed plastic, right? And give it to them for free. And that's our goal. Basically, we're here to interfere with the production of new plastic. And we're here to interfere with our neighbors' hard-earned money going into the pockets of global plastic polluters who make billions off of the destruction of our planet. I'm thinking mainly about like Procter & Gamble, who are huge plastic polluters, like in the top 10. And they're selling stuff like Dawn, Tide, sort of these products that like our neighbors kind of have to buy them. Like they don't have a lot of choice, but so they're kind of giving them this money. And I just want to like be like, stop giving them money. Let's boycott. Let's all boycott them together. That's one of the reasons that this is important. So in this first 3 years, I've been doing this for about 3 years. The project has saved 1,415 bottles from the waste stream. And I always like to add this on there, like literal actual bottles. Like we also, Simple Sundries as a business has also saved like thousands and thousands of like metaphorical bottles, because there's also the bottles that those families didn't buy. So there's that bottle, but this is like, we just count the ones that we, like the physical ones. So we've provided over 400 East and North Portland families and 15 school food pantries with necessary household products, such as like laundry soap, dish soap, shampoo, conditioner, things like that. They're basically basic needs items, but they can't be purchased with food stamps. And they're one of the most requested items in school food pantries. And they are also the least donated. So that's another reason why this is important. So which schools pantries have benefited from this project so far? We've worked with Gilbert Park, Mill Park, Lent, Shaver, Lincoln Park, Reynolds, Middle, Kelly, Floyd Light, Woodlawn, Harrison Park, Earl Boyles, Ventura Park, Powell Butte Elementary, Park Lane Elementary, and Jefferson High School. And like really the only thing that's sort of like keeping us from working with more schools and benefiting more families is just sort of money, I guess. So that kind of brings us to just the last, just my last real quick slide is if you want to help, because we are partnering with so many amazing organizations and so many amazing schools. And these schools are really low income schools with some of the highest diversity rates in the state. And so there's different ways you can help. You can become a sustaining member, which is $6 a month. Also on our website, we have an option where you can purchase household supplies for families. And then we are also looking for corporate sponsors. This would be a corporation who wants to do maybe like an actual carbon offset, and then help us fund this project so that we can help more families. So if you have a corporation who might be interested, please reach out, and I'd love to talk about that as well. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, ways we're partnering around the state and ways you can help grow those partnerships.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mandy.
Brittany.
Such important work. We do have time if anyone has a question. We have time for one question. Also, feel free to type up questions in the chat and we can respond to those as they come in as well.
Mandy, I have what's the coolest bottle you've saved from the waste stream? Is there like a bottle that you've saved and you were like, I'm keeping this for me because it's too cool or practical?
Well, there actually was one. Sometimes people give me cool bottles, which I surprisingly don't find as interesting as I do like stupid plastic ones that don't normally have a reuse. Those are the ones that I like find fascinating because I'm like, I'm gonna find a way to use this. But somebody gave me this cool old bottle, and it was from County Cork in Ireland. And it was just like a really old cool bottle, but I had it in a box with all the other old cool bottles that I don't really know what to do with. And my dad was in town and he saw that bottle and he was like so excited about the bottle. So he took it back to Iowa, like dusted it off, put it on a shelf. Like he's like so proud of it. So that was probably the most fun.
That's cool. I love that.
And Mandy, we have in the chat, where is the refill window?
So you can always go on the website, and if you Google Simple Sundries, it's the only thing that comes up. But we're on Google Maps, and we're 2214 Southeast 135th Avenue. So we're in East Portland on 135th between Stark and Division. We're open on Sundays between 10 and 1.
Awesome. Thank you, Mandy. Thanks for all of the wonderful work that you do and being part of this community. Okay, we get to hear from from two other community partners. So as Julia mentioned earlier, we are involved in 2 new grant partnerships through the Metro Investment and Innovation Grant Program. So you'll get to hear about both of these projects from our partners in a moment. And in both of these projects, Waste Free Advocates will be assisting with public outreach and education to get these projects adopted in our communities. So for our first partnership, I will hand it over to Emily and Deb from Okapi Reusables. And I will mention too, we've been putting these QR codes on the slide. So just pointing that out, you can scan it with your smartphone and it should pop up. So take it away, Emily. I'll stop sharing so you can go ahead and share.
Great. I'm going to jump in. Hi, Brittany. Thanks so much for inviting us. We're excited to be here. I'm Deb Gray. I'm co-founder of Okapi Reusables based here in Portland, and Emily Chueh is the other co-founder. She's in Mountain View, California, and on the call. And I'm so excited to see many Okapi members' names pop up in the chat. So I'll jump in. I'm going to talk fast to get through these slides, but next slide. So I'll jump right to the mission in blue. So our mission is to try to make reuse the new norm by making it easy to get drinks to go in our reusable cups without the plastic, without the guilt. So we did a bunch of customer, or I should say coffee drinker interviews before we even launched a year ago. And we heard the word guilt a lot. So people know that single-use cups aren't recyclable, aren't compostable, and the word guilt came up a lot. So we want to help them enjoy their coffee without the guilt. We started with coffee in Portland, And we're in juice places, we're expanding to bubble tea, and we're expanding to the San Francisco Bay Area. In the next 3 to 4 weeks, we'll be in 3 or so cafes. So Okapi members, you can look at your app and see California cafes on the app now, on the Cafe Finder. I'll go through the goals as we go through the slides, but just quickly wanted to say we have really strong contractor support in several areas, which we really need. And we're really pleased to be part of the 2022 Next Cycle Washington Accelerator, which is a 6-month program for small businesses and startups operating in the circular economy space in Washington or wanting to get to Washington State. Next slide. So for cafe owners, it's easy to start. So this is kind of how it works, first from cafe side and then from the customer side. So we provide cups and lids at no upfront cost. We provide the app and we provide launch materials like you see in the picture. The cafe fee is a per cup borrowed fee. That's roughly equivalent to the cost of disposable cups, although with lingering supply chain issues, that price ranges all over the place. It's easy to serve customers. So once a customer is an Okapi member, I'll talk about that in a second. They just ask for their drink in an Okapi cup, and then they've got 2 weeks to return it to any location in the network. And then cafes wash and sanitize the cups. So we don't have offsite dishwashing. Cafes wash and sanitize. And so far it hasn't been a big barrier for us. We'll see as we expand if that becomes an issue. And then cafes can see their own impact on a dashboard that we provide, and they can see citywide impact as well. And then we provide things like free coffee days and free memberships to get new cafes going. So next. For customers, they download the app. It's a one-time $10 membership fee. Then they scan a code at the counter, show their screen to the barista, and ask for their drink in a whatever size Okapi cup. They can borrow up to 2 cups at a time, and again, return to any location in the network, but 90% of the time they go back to the same cafe. And in case you're curious, the time from borrow to return, the average time is 4 days. And if they don't return the cup, and we get this question a lot from cafe owners, what about people that just don't return it? So we give a nudge email in 2 weeks, but then we actually give them another 2 weeks. If they don't return within a month, there is a lost cup fee. Next. These are the cups. So double wall stainless steel cups, very nestable, stackable. You see the sizes there. There are silicone lids, and it really makes for a nice drinking experience. So it keeps your coffee hot longer, keeps cold drinks cold longer. And we just introduced glass cups for when the look of the drink is really important, whether it's juices or bubble tea. And I know at least one of you on the call helps test those. We're big about testing, so thank you. And those are the sizes that they're available in, and they support a wide straw for boba. And the coffee lids are more for sipping. Next slide. And so this is where we are, or some of where we are in Portland. We're also in a couple of cafes now in Milwaukee, and we launched in January, and we're in 17 locations as of today. Some of our top borrowers, customers, have borrowed over 100 cups. And the community is just great. I just counted that we have 90 people that have nominated cafes where they want to see Okapi, and that's incredibly helpful for us to know where to go next. And we have a grant from Metro to help us expand the network. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but that is through next summer. And this is just a walk around some of our cafes. Happy Day Juice on the top left, Clinton Street Coffee House, their front door, top right, and then Fetch in Selwood. Next slide. So speaking of our great community, not too long ago, we asked just a few of our really frequent borrowers, like, why did you join? And what do you like about it? And what's your go-to drink? Because it kind of brings them to life more if we haven't met them. So I'll just read a couple of these. So I joined because all those disposable cups are a gigantic waste. And this is from a member who go-to drink is a shot in the dark, which I had never heard of. It's espresso and a cup of drip coffee if you really want all that caffeine. Or I want less waste and don't always remember my own cup. So this can be a backup cup, obviously, to a bring your own cup. It's always there waiting for you. And you can read the last one, talking about a mountain of coffee throwaways. Next slide. A little bit more about our grant from Metro. So as Brittany mentioned, it's the Investment and Innovation Grant, and it allows us to expand to over 30 cafes here by next year. and fund initiatives to really increase the number or the percent of reusable cups at larger cafes. We really want to go deep as well as broad, and we want to also get beyond, you saw on the map, we're in the Southeast and the Northeast. We really want to get to East Portland and North Portland, to the west, of course, and just really represent the cross section of Metro Portland in a diverse, equitable way in terms of cafe owners in our community. And then it lets us collaborate, I should say, more with waste-free advocates, because from the beginning, they've helped us with ideas and connections, and it's even more powerful to have some funding behind this. Next slide. So I talked about going deeper in some of these bigger cafes. So this Saturday, this is a poster that will be at Clinton Street Coffee House, and they're just kind of messaging directly to their customers. It's going to be right on the counter where you order. We serve this many single-use cups a month, and we want to cut the waste. So either bring your own cup or borrow an Okapi cup. And 20% of them already do this in those two categories. And that's because Clinton Street, way back when, put a discount on bring your own cups. And then they put the same 25-cent discount on Okapi. And they then in January put a surcharge on disposables. That got them from 10 to 20%. And they want to get to 50%. So I love that they're really being bold with this, and we'll help with some in-cafe events and some freebies, but it's really the kind of like the barista customer relationship that's going to make this happen. I also want to say that Plastic Free Restaurants, a nonprofit that probably most of you know, they support restaurants and schools when they want to switch from single use to dine-in durables for dine-in. They provide subsidies towards that, and we've talked with them about single-use coffee cups, and they're providing a subsidy to Clinton if they hit this goal and they sustain it for 3 months. So that's also huge, just an exciting thing where we want to see what happens there. Next slide. So a little bit more on our collaboration with Waste Free Advocates. So they're really opening doors. I should say you are all opening doors to more community events like farmers markets, like being at James Recycling events, which will be really big for us, and connecting us to corporate cafe opportunities to make even more impact. And we're co-creating events like an event in January where we're going to get different cafe owners together at one of the cafe partners that we have so that we can sit down together and talk about with a little wine and beer and appetizers and stuff, talk about single-use cups and talk about how do we get more people bringing their own or using reusables, what's working, what's a concern, and just talk about it. Next slide. This is the last slide. So for the next 6 to 12 months, I think I've talked about the first point. We want to have more exposure to the cafe industry. There's a big Specialty Coffee Association meeting in Portland in April that we hope to get some visibility at, do some networking. We've got the Metro project, which I mentioned. We also have a small grant from the Office of Sustainability in San Mateo County that's helping us grow in the Bay Area. And last but definitely not least, we're getting the coaching from Next Cycle Washington, which I mentioned, and also with our low cafe and customer fees, we need another revenue stream. And so we've got a corporate sponsorship strategy that's in the works. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Emily. We do have a couple minutes for questions. Again, feel free to put them into the chat, or you can unmute and ask directly.
I had a question for you, Deb. You guys are just introducing the borosilicate glass cups, and it had said there's a straw hole big enough for the straw, and it's like a bring your own straw. Do you know if cafes have big straws they can sell to folks?
They do. So Clinton Street Coffee House sells straws. We're talking to a couple of bubble tea places, and they're kind of excited to sell the straws. Yeah. So there should be, in I hope most places, the chance to buy a straw whenever you're using this cup. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was just going to say those straws are also at Realm Refillery and other places like that to buy if you don't have your own reusable straw.
Good to know. Well, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And thank you again, Deb and Emily, for the awesome work that you're doing in our communities. So next, we will hear from Athena Petty at New Seasons Market, as well as Jocelyn Quarrell from Bold Reuse. So if you two want to take it away, pass the mic to you.
Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Jocelyn Quarrell from Bold Reuse. Lots to bring you all up to speed on. Obviously, we have a new name, previously known as GoBox, but we relaunched, rebranded, relaunched as Bold Reuse this fall. So exciting to have a new name, sort of a broader scope. We wanted to get out of the literal box with our sort of fresh identity as we've been pivoting our business model a little bit and really trying to find opportunities to work with larger companies, larger venues, where we think we can have a greater impact on waste reduction efforts. And so excited to be here tonight to talk really specifically about this very exciting grant that we are working on with some really wonderful partners. So I'm going to provide an introduction, and then Athena is going to chat a bit about the perspective from New Seasons Market on this grant. And then I'll wrap up with a final call to action and another exciting project update. So this grant, funded by Metro in partnership with Waste Free Advocates, New Seasons Market, and with the Greater Pacific Northwest Food and Beverage Retail Manufacturing Community. And we've been really working with Hannah Kohlberg from that community to tap into it. And our goal, the project, we're calling it Retail Reuse. And our goal is to test the feasibility of reusable packaging for shelf-stable grocery products. So this would be things on the shelf at New Seasons that you would purchase coming in packaging that looks like this, or something like this. Last example here. And glass is endlessly recyclable, but every time it's recycled, it creates emissions in the transportation to the recycling manufacturing, in the process of actually melting that glass down, and then in the process of creating a new glass jar. It's all contributing to our planetary destruction. And so how can we address that and capture a glass jar and keep it as a glass jar for as long as it can be used as a glass jar, safely as a glass jar, and drive not only positive environmental impacts by the reduction of emissions, but also provide economic benefits to our local manufacturers. They've seen the cost for their products, glass jars, just skyrocket through the course of the pandemic. So there's some win-wins that we're looking to generate here. How is it going to work? So you as a customer of New Seasons Market is going to go in, and you're going to be perusing the beautiful aisles full of locally produced products like honeys, jams, jellies, peanut butters, salad dressings, sauces. And there's going to be a sticker on those jars that indicate it's part of the retail reuse program. And so that when you purchase that product, you'll be able to bring that packaging back to New Season and return it so that it can be reused. And so that's exactly what you'll do. You'll take it home, you'll enjoy that tasty treat. And then when you're done, the empty glass jar can be returned to any New Seasons Market locations and dropped into the Bold Reuse drop site that's there. For clarification, there's no deposit or return model here. We're strictly testing the feasibility of people's willingness to participate. And there's a lot to work out on the side, working with manufacturers as well. So this grant really provides us with the opportunity to do some deep testing and evaluating and mapping of how this partnership or how this model can start small but scale. And as I say, drive multiple wins. And I think, you know, especially probably those of us here on this call, we're already hoarding glass jars at home, right? For whatever reason, I know like I have just like shelves and shelves in my cabinet full of empty glass jars. So those come in handy, but certainly those that you know, you no longer have space for, we're excited to provide another avenue to collect those from you and get them back to our manufacturers. Athena, did you want to come on and chat a bit chat about the new season's perspective here?
Yeah, thanks, Jocelyn. Hi, everybody. I'm Athena Petty. Thanks for having me. So far, the content's been awesome. Thank you. I loved the Simple Sundries presentation so much. Jocelyn, I think you covered it pretty well. Definitely want to give a shout out to Metro for enabling us through this grant to test this. You know, New Seasons has been working on our operational waste reduction efforts for a long time, and as has been mentioned in this call already, we do face some significant regulatory issues related to our customers' ability to shop with us in the most sustainable way that they can. And so when Jocelyn came to us with this idea, you know, we were really excited by the opportunity to do a test and to understand what are the parameters that both enable our customers to be participating in a reuse system, and also do so in a way that doesn't put undue pressure on our partners. We're really focused on working with local small producers in this model. I think Jocelyn says this a lot, but you know, they're not the ones who have created this problem to begin with, and there are some other reuse models out there kind of at the national scale that are really focused on sort of the big CPG brands. And we really see this as an opportunity to build a system for the smaller producers who, you know, getting in a room with them is so exciting because this is really, they want to do this as well. They want to see waste reduction. They see this as a business benefit to their bottom line. And so, you know, New Seasons sees ourselves as sort of the convener and as a really excited partner to help test the logistics and you know, test some of the assumptions that we've made, both about the sort of logistical side of things, but also the operational aspects of this that impact not only our staff and labor, but also the Bold Reuse team, the producers themselves, et cetera. So we're really interested and excited to see how this can translate into something much bigger. We're talking about sort of a small set of products to begin with, to do that test. But, you know, we envision a world where this is part of our normal operating procedure again. It's not rocket science. It was the way that this was done for many, many moons before our current industrial system was in place. So we're thrilled to be part of it. And also shout out to Waste Free Advocates for your amazing partnership and support throughout the process so far. We're launching in early next year, so I'm sure that Jocelyn will cover next steps soon, but we really hope that everyone will join us and also give us some feedback because, you know, we're learning. That's really what this is intended to do. So, you know, we'll look to this community, I'm sure, for some feedback on the process. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well said, Athena. Thank you very much for adding that context. Yes, so as a call to action, I'm excited to announce our first brand partner, manufacturing partner for this program. And before I say this name and get everybody excited, I just want to be clear. We're not yet accepting jars at New Seasons locations. We're going to launch this program early next year, but you can start saving your jars from Ground Up Nut Butter, who is just a fantastic women-owned company that makes absolutely incredibly delicious nut butters of all different flavors and types. And they're also our neighbors here in the Southeast Portland neighborhood. So thrilled to be working with them. Our goal is to launch with 4 other brands, so 5 total as a starting point. And then as we get better, learn best practices, see more engagement, we intend to invite additional brands to join us. Awesome. And my last moment that I have left, I also wanted to talk about the other exciting project that we have going on right now, which is a new program called RIP City Reuse, which we have launched in partnership with the Portland Trailblazers at the Moda Center for reusable foodware for concession products. We launched a month and a half ago. This is available at the club level of the Moda Center for all of the Trailblazer games, as well as music events and other events that happen at the Moda Center. But what an amazing opportunity to work with a very sustainably minded organization and introduce a very visceral program that fans can like directly engage with and feel like, participatory partner in meeting our community's sustainability goals and waste reduction goals. So if you have an opportunity to go and try it out, even if you don't sit at the club level, you can find your way there to be able to enjoy. I recommend Crisp Salads, who's a great local partner of ours, also with our bold reusable containers. They have a concessionaire stand now at the Moda Center, and we love working with them. Great, thank you for the time to chat tonight. This is like the feel-good meeting of the month so far for me. So thanks again so much. And thank you for Waste Free Advocates for their multiple years of support. I think this is my 4th meeting to have the opportunity to present at. So thank you for that platform. Brittany, thank you for doing so much heavy lifting during the grant application process for this opportunity. This is such a great organization to be supported by. Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn, and thank you, Athena. So stay tuned for updates from us, from Bold Reuse, and from new seasons as this starts to launch. Really exciting work. We have time for one question regarding the pilot. If anyone has a question about anything that Jocelyn or Athena said about the pilot, feel free to unmute or put it into the chat.
Could you put the name of that butter in the chat for me, please?
I've got a question, but I first want to say this is the reusable jar notion is incredibly exciting because it just seems like you can just continue to add product lines to it until all the glass jars get reused, and perhaps more than that. So that's incredibly cool. I'm curious what, and this maybe is TBD, what sort of the business model is. I'm guessing that Metro is paying to do, to take the jars, clean them, and deliver them. How do you see that playing out? But tremendous work. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. That's a great question. I think, most of what the grant is funding is really a brain power to figure out how this works and facilitate the smooth sort of development of the supply chain at the super micro level that we're looking to build out. But certainly we have some costs associated for operations. As we talk to these manufacturers, we're learning this jar costs it costs 70 cents for this jar. That doesn't include the cost for the lid, doesn't include the cost for the label. And so basically our goal is to determine if we could be cost comparable with that. And I'll tell you, with the other products we're washing at scale definitely helps here, but at scale, we can be quite competitive at that price point. So I think the business model is a real economic opportunity to frankly undersell the virgin packaging companies. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have time? Can I ask about where are some of our local producers currently getting their jars from? How far away are those jars being produced?
It's a great question that I don't know the answer to, but that's something that we should add that into our sort of intake form when we're chatting with these folks. There's a network of manufacturers and resellers. So a lot of them are just purchasing from resellers and might not know where they're actually being manufactured. Although we have spoke with some who are like USDA certified and they have very clear transparency into their supply chain. So I think it's different for different manufacturers.
Cool. At our Sunday Parkways event, I had multiple people say that their waste pet peeve, or that the thing that they are trying to reduce, is their kombucha bottles. So just passing along from the public something that they are focusing on.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn and Athena. If there are more questions, feel free to put them into the chat. Okay, so zooming out a bit to the statewide level, DEQ unfortunately could not join our meeting this evening, but they wanted to share a brief clip from a recorded meeting that gives a very brief status update on the implementation of the Recycling Modernization Act and how that's going. So if you have any questions, I can collect those and ask DEQ and send out responses to everyone. So please put those in the chat. I'll also give the opportunity to unmute after we listen to this. So we'll hear an update from Cheryl Grabham at DEQ. And I've heard that the audio comes through a little bit quiet, so you might need to turn up your speakers a bit. So here we go.
Nice to see you all and hear you all. I'll just give you a quick update on the many things that we have happening to implement the Recycling Modernization Act here at DEQ. So this slide illustrates the large number of moving parts that RMA creates. Each moving part identified needs to be scoped, assigned to staff, and implemented within the timeframe set forth in the Act. We have several big projects that have already been put into motion. As many of you know, the Truth in Labeling Task Force was established, met several times, and already submitted its report to the legislature. We convened a technical work group on the materials lists that you will hear about today. The first of 2 rulemaking advisory committees is well underway. We have contracts in place and work has begun to start projects related to local government compensation, fees, and permits for recycling processing facilities and for reducing contamination in recycling. There are several more parts of the Act to put into place in the coming years, such as a second rulemaking, an equity study, an evaluation of multi-tenant recycling, setting life cycle analysis standards, developing waste prevention and reuse grants, and much more. So we are confident that we will meet all these deadlines that are set in the Act, and we continue to hire staff to reach those targets. And at the next time we meet, I should be ready to share new staff updates, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's just a little update on how the implementation is.
Okay, so I know it was very short, but if you have any burning questions that you've been wanting to ask DEQ about the Recycling Modernization Act, you know, I will email them after this and get some responses. So feel free to write them down in the chat to record. Feel free to unmute and I can record questions.
So I think there's a plan for pilots for contamination reduction in 2023. So I'd be curious about whether that's still the schedule and how one can propose schemes for reducing contamination.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if anyone has any other questions, again, drop them in the chat and I will get back to you all with responses. Okay, so I'm going to pass this over to Julia now to discuss our renewed efforts to engage our membership. So take it away, Julia.
Thanks. So yeah, I personally consider all of us waste-free advocates, but I want to make it official. We welcome you to join us as members, and today we're launching a 1-month drive to hopefully reach 100 new members, and then also renewing memberships as well. So that'll help us, that'll support us with our grants, with our outreach. But we wanted to make it really a community building effort as well. And so we've organized a low waste business partnership program that will give coupons. You can show the next slide there, to anybody who becomes a new member, and they'll come in time to become stocking stuffers or to help you buy fun presents. So all of these wonderful businesses have joined up with us to offer you discounts when you become a member. Some of them are even with us on this call, but it's really fun. And it's, even if you, for example, already have an Okapi membership, it's a great thing to give to someone else to encourage them to also become a waste-free advocate. So that's one thing. We're hoping to have them all out by December 15th. Yeah, there we go. And then in addition to that, we have a party coming up. Yes, so I'm really excited about this. That the top corner there says A New Way of Thinking, and that's a film that I created about 4 companies who also received the Investment and Innovation Grant. One of them is James Recycling, that's featured in the film. And so, yeah, we really want to promote what's happening here and tell these stories and celebrate just the wonderful wins that people are having and the innovation that they're bringing to this challenge in front of us. So in addition to that film, we'll also have, this is a party that will be a screening. It'll be foods and drinks. There is another film by The Story of Stuff that celebrates the bottle refill program here. So we'll be showing that. And then in addition to that, what's I think even more exciting is the award ceremony that we'll be having. So if Brittany wants to drop the link into the chat of how you can nominate a change maker in the community, we're really hoping to celebrate them that night. So we'll have 2 awards, one for the local public and then one for people who are government employees. We want to share their story and gather together in person, enjoying solutions. In addition to that, I wanted to share that we are doing an impact survey. This is for all of us, anybody to do. We want to better represent you all and see how to go forward together to create the best change possible. What do you really care about? What do you think? You know, we're a small group. How would you like to see our focus pushed? And so this is for anyone to fill out, and I please encourage you to do so. The survey form is in the chat, and you could also use this little QR code. But to nominate someone, you would need to be a member, and then to get the discounts, you would also need to be a member. So again, we're doing this for a month and just hoping to reach as many people as possible. Thanks.
Thank you, Julia. Does anyone have any questions about membership?
I just wanted to add really quick that that we're not just a Portland-based organization, and that we're also like really looking for members in other parts of the state. So if there's maybe other organizations that you know of that are in other cities that you think might be interested in kind of getting on board with our organization, or if you are yourself about a member of a different community besides the Portland area, we really want to encourage you to get involved as well.
Yeah, thanks, Mandy.
Count me in. This is my jam.
Nice.
Thanks, Kendall.
That's great. Okay, so, you know, for other ways to get engaged in the organization, You know, we want to engage new members, and we also have space for new additional board members. So if you're interested, we have a slide deck with information at the bit.ly link there, which I'll also drop into the chat as well. Oh, you might have to copy that. So there's a slide deck that tells you about, you know, information about joining the board, what it's like to be on the board. And then at the very end, there is an application form, a very simple application form to complete. So if you're passionate about reducing waste, you know, that's what we're looking for. And Elena, I'll pass it over to you to share a bit more.
Sure, thank you. I would love to share how positive an experience it has been for me to join this group. I joined the same time as Brittany and Tara in 2019, and working in this group it doesn't feel like work most of the time. It's very much like being in a social club of like-minded individuals. We're all sharing ideas all the time. We're always sharing what events are coming up that we're going to be participating in or that we have participated in. As far as like the kind of professional side of it, joining a board, I think that many of us who are like idealistic environmentalists do have the imposter syndrome where we kind of feel like, well, yeah, I like doing this stuff at home, but it's not like I'm a pro at it. Or being on a board, like with a capital B, it just kind of sounds like very fancy, like ties and jackets kind of thing. But we use the structure of the board and are professional with it, but it's not 100% of what we do. So it is just a place where whoever joins us brings whatever skills and talents that they currently have. People who are on our board, we've got Jessica, who's got all kinds of marketing smarts. We've got Haley, who's got a lot of banking expertise, and thank goodness she's such an excellent treasurer for us. We have design expertise. Julia brought all kinds of design talent and filmmaking talent. There's a lot of photography talent that comes into play. We have social media talent that is always helpful and a big part of how we interact with the public. So really, like any kind of passion that you've already devoted to avoiding waste is applicable in the work that we do on the board, and you just bring to it whatever you've got, and you don't have to learn anything new that unless you want to. I've learned so much and had so much chance to bring up to date a lot of my professional skills since joining the group. All of it in a very non-judgmental and supportive group of individuals. So do not psych yourself out about it. If you have been kind of interested, but thought that it was kind of real official or something. So just follow the link that Brittany shared and send us your applications, because we would love to grow our group. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Elena. And as with all of our sections, we are open to questions right now. So if anyone has any questions, you know the drill.
Is Waste-Free Advocates part of the initial push for a bottle bill with Tom McCall?
Yeah, I wish that Rhett Lawrence was still on the call. He had to drop off for a different meeting, but the Recycling Advocates group had started in Brittany, was it 1987? But they were instrumental in the very beginnings of getting the curbside recycling in Portland when everyone's options were either garbage or having to go to a recycling facility drop off. I think that they were instrumental in gathering signatures and support for the bottle bill.
I have another question about how many board members you're looking for.
I think that our maximum number of board members is 13, and we currently have 7 or 8. Sometimes I lose
8.
track of whether I'm one of the 8.
It's 8.
Okay, so we have 8. So we do have room for 5 more. Our board meetings, we hold one board meeting a month. What works for most of our schedules is an evening meeting. We schedule them between 6 and 7:30. So it just works out perfectly to start the meeting right after putting that last dinner dish in the dishwasher and right before putting a toothbrush in your kid's mouth.
And sometimes little people join us.
That's special too.
That's pretty fun too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Elena. And thanks for your questions, Kendall. And yes, we look forward to, continuing to grow our board. So please do, we encourage you to apply if you're interested. So next up, we have the fun part. So thanks everyone for sticking around and joining us. We are gonna do a few rounds of speed networking. So feel free to relax, grab your favorite beverage, meet a new friend. We'll do a couple rounds of 2 minutes each, but make sure that you stick around until after networking if you entered a pet peeve and you're interested in the raffle draw, because you have to be present to win. So I'm gonna drop a few conversation starters into the chat. Some questions, some ideas to get the conversation going. All right, welcome back. Thanks for participating in that and sticking around until the end. So we have just a couple minutes left. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been so awesome to hear from our community members and have you all here with us. If you entered a pet peeve at the beginning, Haley will now do a drawing. So Haley, can you drum roll?
Names in my favorite old sweaty hiking hat. So here we go. And if person's not present, I'll just pull a new name. So Rick Craycraft, are you out there, Rick?
Oh, he dropped. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll read Rick's pet peeve. Rick's pet peeve is block styrofoam, which I thought was a great one, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Oh, we can deal with it.
It's going to be my pet peeve for the next 500 years.
Yeah.
To infinity.
Elizabeth, I see you. You are the winner.
Wow, so exciting.
Elizabeth, your pet peeve was all single-use plastic, which I know we all agree with, so I love it.
Yeah, it's hard to isolate, can be.
So I don't know if you saw the picture, but Mandy put together a little prize gift package from Simple Sundries. So we'll connect the two of you so you can get that sent to you.
All right, thanks.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, it was great to be here.
Yeah, congrats, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, you.
Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight. And we just really appreciate you being a part of our community, and we look forward to continuing to engage with you all. Please feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're always happy to chat about waste-free solutions.